Hi guys, today I'm going to try and do these fuses for these Pylontech batteries, and you know, I'm dreading it really because I don't really know what I'm doing and everything's got to be powered down. It's all got to go off, so we're going to move without power for some time, and yeah, it's just a nightmare. I haven't got a great deal of room to put a board on and sort this problem out. Anyway, so I'm going to have a go doing this, and hopefully it will all go back on at the end. So really the thing I've got to do is power it all down, power everything down. It's all got to be now switched off, and I'll have to run on a generator to do heat shrinking and for lights. I've got a battery light as well. So we've got to make sure we power everything down properly and test that it is all powered down right. So I'm going to start with turning off the solar, so use these isolation switches to switch that lot off. Yeah, I mean on the little computer I've got on the wall, it says that we've got no power coming from the solar now. So next I think I'll turn off the inverter. So next I'll go on my little computer screen thing here, have a look, see if I can find where the Quattro is. It says it's inverting. I'm not sure if you can see it on here actually. What have we got? So switch at the top. I can press that, so turn it off. Off. And now we need some more lights. So now generator on. If it'll work. Let's try and get that going. Right, so now we're running off generator power now. So next is to turn these Pylontech batteries off, and I think the way I turned them off last time was I pressed that red button, and they should, on the master one, they should all go off. So I'll give that a go. Yeah, so all the lights have gone out, and now I'm going to individually switch them all off with their switches to make sure they're off. Everything's now gone off. The little computer's gone off. I'm just going to switch the switches off. I was just hearing noises then, I thought I did something wrong. So yeah, these things are going to be death to me. I hate doing this. Off. Right, we're all off now. So I've got some bits of board to back some fireboard. Oh, bit of it's broken in the corner already. That's a good start. So we have these that are going to be backed on that board. Merson disconnect things with Merson fuses as well actually. And I've got 80 amp ones because I've got two batteries connected. So two batteries are connected, and then they've got long cable, DC cables, and then there's just one that has just got one long DC cable. So on the two ones that are connected, I've got 80 amp fuses to protect from a short, and on the smaller one I've just got a 40 amp fuse. Say just a smaller one. It's one battery on that one battery. I think they usually run it, I think it's 37 amps is what they like to charge at and discharge at each. So I think by going 40 amps for each battery it works. Obviously I've got two. This covers the wire because the wire's meant to be 100 amp wire sizing, and 80 amp fuses, so they sit in there. You've got to get them sitting in the front of it, and then when you pull them out, it pulls the fuse out and disconnects the power. So it's another disconnect to take the power off, and it's also a fuse in case things go really badly wrong. So inside here there's like a little groove in there, and that's the facing side, if you like, of this thing. And they've got these fuses, got these little bits on, and the front of it looks like it's got to sit inside there, and then you just seem to push it down and then it should click. It should click. Yeah, it did click eventually, and then that's in there. So when this is closed up, the fuse connects. So you put your bolts, it's going to be a job to show you this, so I'm going to have to take a lot of this stuff off to put the wires in. Two wires, because you fuse the negative and the positive wire on these as well. So not just like on these ones in that distributor, we've just got the positive fused, but actually positive and negative it says. So I have to take all this stuff out. It's going to be a right faff. I've got to crimp wires. I'm going to have to take all them wires off of there, cut them in the right place, and hope I don't mess it up, because if I get them wrong I need all new wires. And they say to put these on where it closer to the battery. I can't do it close to the battery because they've got to sort of go right to the back of the wall and up. So that's where they're going to go. I'll mark all those cables off there, and that's where I'm going to cut them. And then this will be the top part that will go in here, and then the bottom parts come up underneath. But I've got to put on M8 lugs and heat shrink them on and bolt them in here. And so the idea of this is, these fuses is they just come back like that. This all clicks back together. Just clicks back together, and then when you want to disconnect, it basically pulls the fuse out as the disconnect, and then you've got a fused system that should stop any short. So they're going to go on the wall like that. Get this board screwed on the wall. Right, the boards are on. I mean, I've never done this before, so I'm not sure which is the best way around to go about it. Putting these on the wall first, because these do need screwing on the wall before you put fuses in and things like that. There's nothing at the side that you can just sort of fiddle around, get the wires connected to it and the fuses in, and then do it on the backs of them. Although the fuses sit in the front, they're in the way, and there's lots of plastic stuff that's covering up the terminals that's in the way. So a lot of it's got to come out to try and get in there with a drill, and to get a long drill bit to go in there. It's going to be awkward getting them on there. So then that insert thing that is out of the way. There's a little bit of grease on these as well, that's for so that the fuse can slide in and out easier. So take that apart, get all this apart. Got to remember how it all goes back together again. That's essentially where it's broken down, where we've got where the terminals are. That's got to go, I think, screw through there is my best guess, onto the back of the board. Do something like that. Yeah. Is we don't want to cut these cables too short on here and not have enough room to move them around to some of the other isolation switches and fuses. I want to cut them all the same length as well, if I can. And all this is going to have to come off. Going to have to unbolt. There's loads of work in this, trying to do this. It's a right faff. Wish I'd done it the first time and knew what I was doing. Still don't know what I'm doing. So. Right, so we'll unplug all our cables now. all our long DC cables are disconnected. So double, triple E try to make sure everything's right. We'll test up here to see if anything's coming through. The generator, by the way, is not plugged into this. The generator's unplugged there. We've just got it plugged into a separate cable coming up here to give us lights and things at the moment, and to use the heat gun if I ever get around to it. Millivolts, that's all. So we're all safe there, it's just millivolts. So we're all turned off. So the next thing I need to do is I want to mark these. I think mark them there, so I've got a bit of flex to move them around and get them to join into these. So I'll mark these cables off where I want to cut them, all around the same length. This is the scary bit, when you cut them in half, you can put a cut in them and then you've got to get it all right. Otherwise there's not going to be any power until I can get some new DC cables or something, if I've messed this up. The other option is I've still got to take all this off, and I really don't think I need the fuses that are now in there. They're going to be protecting what, a little tiny bit of wire like that, or you know, if it goes wrong this side, it's only going to be you know, the fuse on this is going to protect. So I think I might as well, while I'm at it, just take all that off and just put the cables on, I think, really. So there's the fuses. You could just do away with that fuse. Only thing is, my cables are a different length if I do that. I've just marked all my cables, and looking in there, if I go straight up with the positive, they're all going to be slightly different lengths. I might not have it just shortens me on the positive side. So that needs a rethink. I have to remark the positives once I've done. I think I'm going to unbolt them all actually, and remark them all, lift them up, remark them all after I've unbolted it, otherwise there's going to be problems. So I'm carrying on, take all these off. Got to remove this little black plastic bit in the middle of here, and to take the nut out that goes in the middle so that I can get across now, because I'm not having fuses on there. I can go straight across up to here. I've got to get rid of this middle part now, because my wires have got to go right over to there, my positives. They're not just clipping onto this middle part anymore. It just turns into such a long job, doesn't it? Just to take, you know, you just think, oh, cut some wires, put some, and then you end up dismantling so much stuff to do anything. Right, so that little bit of plastic stuff's put back in there now, so we can sort of bridge straight across to there. Now I need to work out how long I want to cut these cables. I'm going to take these markers off because I want to make sure they're the right length really. I want to cut all the same length. Moment of truth now. I'm gonna have to cut them all and just get on with it. Hope for the best. Just hope for the best. Let's start with the first one. Got to put these lugs on there. They're 25mm M8 lugs on these cables. So I'm just crimping these up onto this this piece of wire. I'm just going to whack it using this, and I've already put the heat shrink on there. I'm just going to sit in. I want to line the lug up so it's the same way round as the other lug. Makes it easier to handle when it's up there. So that's lined up. That's crimped on there. And just pull that over. Plastic over the top. Okay. And then that one's done. That's all our short cables. All our short cables are crimped. I've just got a heat shrink now, this onto there, do all those. Then I've got to crimp all the other ends of those cables down there that are connected to the batteries. They're all crimped on, and they're all heat shrunk. Right, start rebolting. Bolt these on there just to see how that's actually going to go together. They give you the little nuts and bolts in this bag that are meant to do that. Have a go at that. Right, positive and negative are on. I need some cable ties to keep them a bit tidy. They're on there. So the next ones I've got to do I'll have a go at the cables on the battery on these two, and that'll isolate just two. So it's not something I would use as an isolation actually, because you don't isolate everything at the same time. I wouldn't do that only in a very extreme circumstance where nothing else will switch off. But these switch off. I've got loads of other switches. I can leave these on. This is still useful because of my Servo GX. If I've got problems with anything else, these still do isolate, and they do work. People are, because they say 48 volt and this is slightly above, they don't think it works. And I've tried it and it does work. It doesn't come through. So in an emergency, that can be used. If there's a problem, you can still isolate things using that, and your servo can find a fault on other things. So I'm still pleased I did that bit. I didn't need the fuses in there, that was a waste of money because they were expensive. But it's all learning. Right, I'm gonna go out, get these whacked with that crimper and then heat shrink. More heat shrinking. This is the battery end of the cables. Lay these out to where they need to go, up here, and look at bolting them down in. Start doing some bolting up again. There for this side, these two batteries. Let's see if we can put this together. I'm not faffing about, I know. Basically, these inserts that go over these cables, there's not enough room for the cable to come through, and the only way I can see that out bending things round, or if you can buy some sort of crimp or lug that's a funny shape, like with a U-bend on it, to miss that. Obviously I've got to cut that little bit out. That's the easiest way, is cut that bit out. I don't see that's in the way, stopping it from folding back properly. So there's a little bit of trimming on this. I don't know whether it's me, but that definitely won't shut with that on there sticking out. It won't go back far enough. There isn't actually enough room for that cable to poke through without bending the lug, and I don't want to bend the lug because it could snap. So I'm gonna have to try and get rid of that, a little bit of that. Not sure what's the best way to take this in. Oh, look at that, kind of bends out the way there, easy. I guess it was some sort of like a knockout, but I couldn't see it. Right, I basically just cut a little bit off of these ends, just so this has got a bit of room, and then want to break that out if it'll come. Yeah, and it did, so I'll do that top and bottom on all of them, and it should fit. So, try again. All this stuff I got from a place called Bimble Solar here in the UK. I was trying to find these proper isolation switches and the proper fuses for this these Pylontech. Was quite difficult. There's lots of different things that you see, diagrams, and there's a lot of diagrams that show nothing of isolation actually at all. There's, you know, some professional companies people have put online that have done things, and they just go from this straight to the inverter with no isolation. So I'm trying my best. So got the 40 amp fuses in here, clicked down into the into this front like bit that you pull down, like the lever if you like. They go in this side and not in the back, so that when you pull out, it pulls the fuses out and disconnects the batteries. There we go. Right, we've got to plug everything back in now. Right, this is the moment of truth now, that these things actually switch back on. I switch the batteries on first, then the inverter, then the solar, and just hope that everything comes back on. So the thing to do now is just start switching all the rocker switches on them all. Oh God, is there anything I've missed? I just don't want any dramatics really. Okay, switch them all on. All on. Hold the red button down, they should all come on. Yeah, we're all coming on, one after the other. There's an alarm thing just came on this. Okay, it's gone off now. Right, so there was a little red, that red light stayed on a little while. I don't know if that's normal. On the master one only. The other ones are flashing, but they're not showing. Until I put the inverter on, they don't all seem to flash and show what they're doing. So let's put the inverter on. So Quattro, switch him on. Yeah, now all the lights are showing on the others to sort of say what their state of charge is. So I suppose that's normal. That's normal, I guess. Just, you know, if you're not used to it, it's just. I just don't like switching them off at all because they might never come back on again. Right, well, that's all working. I'll put the solar on now then. Turn the big one on. Big array's on now. So, what are we doing at the moment? So, blue solar, that's not come on yet. It's not. Oh, it's coming on now. There's a little bit of delay there. That's good then. So, it looks like we've successfully put proper fuses on our Pylontech batteries. Da-da! And, you know, it's just precaution. Hopefully there'll never be anything wrong with them. They'll never go wrong, and I'll get years and years out of these things. But it's done. I haven't got to worry about it. Yeah, I'm pleased. It's working. It's fused. Right, so we're all up and working. It looks to be a success. So that's it for now. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. It'll hopefully help someone out, knowing where to go and get the fuses, what sort of thing they actually seem to need, instead of wasting money on mega fuses like I did. So yeah, those we'll put a link in the description of what fuse we used and where we got them, and all the details, so that you know, it's easier to find. You haven't got to scour the internet like I did. and yeah, hopefully we'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching. So basically, ow, cramp.